Hi, my name's Daniel Kitts. I'm the online editor of The Agenda with Steve Paikin. And adults are always telling the youth of today to go out and change the world, but how many youth actually do that? To discuss this, I'm talking with Kourosh Houshmand. He is the founder and president of an organization called Social Life. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So you're leaving for a few days to South Africa. What are you going to be doing there?
So South Africa, we're going to be leaving on Sunday, like you said, to Johannesburg, and we've actually partnered with a school there and a local manufacturer, and we're going to be installing solar lights in a school called Iwewe Primary School. Now, these solar lights, there's a charging station. The lights are, obviously charged, but the cool thing about them is that the kids get to take them home. These lights, they get to take them home. Now, what's unfortunate is this is an off-grid community, so they don't have access to electricity. What we try to do is, it's less about solar energy, more so about using the tools and raw materials that are available in countries impoverished, like South Africa, and create the infrastructure for not only students to educate themselves, but to have, or to be safe in their community, and to be productive when the night falls. And all these things, we're using solar energy to be an enabling factor and let students grow and succeed in whatever they want to do.
So how did this idea start?
Well, the idea started, it was a thought, and for me personally, I was very much taken back by the idea that there are people out there are students out there that, I'll put it to you this way. I think the worst thing that can happen to a young person is to have their enthusiasm, passion, and optimism suppressed. So, this all started with me seeing how lucky I was to have the opportunities that I do, to start organizations, to go to school, to be educated, and not to worry about the basic things. This started with that thought, with that in mind, that there are people out there that don't have the opportunities that I do and of the peers around me. And especially if you're going to create a world that's going to grow and succeed, you got to cater to young people. And the biggest thing that you can offer them is human capital to be successful. What we're doing hopefully creates that infrastructure, like I said again, to do that. So it all started with that.
All right, well, you're very proud of the fact that you're a completely student-run organization. Why is that important to you?
Well, I was looking at, I'll give you a statistic. Stats Canada in 2010, there was a statistic that said 65% of young people between the ages of 15 and 20 engage in some sort of volunteer opportunity, philanthropic volunteer opportunity. That number drastically drops, maybe about 25% once they turn between 20 to 23. So when you look at those numbers, we're not doing a bad job of exposing students to philanthropic projects. What we know is that students want to engage and want to help people and do have that pure thought process. What we're failing to do, though, with young people especially, that I'm trying to harness, is to keep them involved in a life of philanthropy. So making it less about checklists. You go to somewhere, a third world nation, or should I say developing nation, and then I've done my part in the world to help people. That's not what it's about. It's about creating philanthropists. It's about making sure that students know what it means. And I think really when we come and when we listen and understand about philanthropy, we're at a crossroads. The digital networking generation, in a sense, are both enabled and disabled to do things in this world. And right now, if any time, is a pivotal point for student philanthropy and growth of that sector.
Now, when you contacted me about this, you wrote that you thought there was a story to be told about the evolving nature of student philanthropy. What do you think is changing about the way young people are trying to help the world?
Yeah, with the social and networking generation, like I said, there are two things that really happen. Number one, students are exposed to a lot of, or not the students, everyone is exposed to a lot of problems in the world. They know what problems exist. Those problems are communicable, and more or less people can communicate and try and solve those problems on a very easy medium, social media. So all that communication is there, so you know about the problems. Second thing that happens, though, and this is more a negative thing, is that people start becoming overwhelmed of problems. I always give the example of environmentalism, and one of the reasons I think it's failing in a way as as a way to move forward. Some people say, the planet's going to burn down anyway, so there's nothing I can do. People don't see the individual effect of something small that they do, and that is the result of social media. But at the same time, you have this tool that can solve it. So like I say, this evolving nature is trying to fill that gap and that potential.
So you're headed to South Africa. What's next after that for Solar for Life?
Well, we're going to start this project in South Africa, and work with a lot of local people and manufacturers there to start the project. Hopefully in the winter, so from now until the winter, we're going to be starting our cycle of intense fundraising to meet our goal. Hopefully, instead of doing just one school there, to do two. And so we're looking to fundraise about $30,000, and in the winter do our next trip there. After that, we're also looking at different areas around the world. We know that there is huge issues in Nepal, in South American countries, but right now we're focusing on South Africa. And to help community members, one by one, and really the power of a single person, whether that single person is in a developing nation or a developed nation, is incredibly important. And it's all about awareness, but beyond the awareness, it's about taking action. And that's what we really try to instill in the people that volunteer for us, and for the people that hopefully donate to us.
All right. Well, Kourosh Houshmand, founder and president of Solar for Life, thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck.
Thanks a lot.